Hello everyone, welcome back to Swordland and Suzerain, where we have just had a briefing about our internal security, which to put up to summarize is fucked. Let's see what about our external security? Surely it can't be anywhere near as bad, he says knowingly. Upon invitation, Josef Lancia, along with three high-ranking officials from the Ministry of Defense, walked into the room. One of the men was none other than General Kruger, the chief of the armed forces. Josef made his way toward the table while the others stood by the door. Mr. President. Josef, welcome. I brought General Kruger with me due to the escalation on our borders. General Kruger stepped forward and saluted. He had strong jaw with sharp cheekbones. His tall stature, uniform, and medals combined with his deep and intense stare made him look threatening. He was in his 70s, yet he had a bulky body. That was a result of his commando training. Not only was he the second most decorated officer in Swordland, he was also the longest serving. Let's shake his hand. His handshake was firm, strong, and confident. Josef tapped his foot impatiently. He seemed uneasy with the presence of another high-ranking officer in the room. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to this significant gathering. Let's begin. Josef and Vulcan took their seats at the table, while the rest of the officers stood by the door. Mr. President, the situation at the western and northern borders toward Rumburg is very tense. We are observing deployments of divisions closer to our border. Rumburg has been acting increasingly expansionist in the past decades and also interfered in Magnolia, but now they have turned their sights on us. Yeah, this concerns me very much. What is your current strategy? Patrolling close to the borders with our border force and keeping Army Reserve divisions near. It seems like they want to increase the pressure both externally and internally. Mr. President, if I may. Please, General. The picture is becoming clearer. The latest information from the interior about the weapons caches, and now there is an active military buildup close to our borders. The entire situation was analyzed by our general staff, and our prediction is a future territorial incursion by Rumburg. I have complete trust in the general staff. We will not let you down, Mr. President. The general staff is composed of the smartest military individuals. I require an increase in the military budget to enlist more soldiers, only then we can stand strong against our enemies. Then the enlarged forces will hold them at bay. Not sure I can do that for you, mate. Vulcan is right. We do need an increase in the military budget, although we don't see eye to eye on exactly how to spend the budget. That much we agree on. I have my concerns about Rumburg too. We need strong allies to withstand such a superior power. They are our nemesis. That is an understatement. Times are challenging and war is coming, Mr. President. Whether we like it or not, we must be prepared. During the election you said nothing about focusing on our military. I ask you to reconsider and to increase the military budget. The future and safety of Swordland is in your hands. You may be right. As you said, times change, Joseph. We will see. A smile brought a glimmer of hope on Yosef's face. Our forces would crumble under a decrease, and Rumburg would be much more compelled to exploit our weaknesses. Our country hasn't fallen to any invading force for 200 years. You cannot let it happen, Mr. President. We should find regional allies like Valsland or Lesbia to deter Rumburg. There are several options on the table. These options should be considered. They could be considered, but why pander to others when we can solve these issues ourselves? We have no true friends outside these borders. Everyone fell silent when a soldier entered the room and let Joseph Lancia know that a call had come through from the ministry. Excuse me, Mr. President. Joseph left the room to answer. A few minutes later, he entered the room again. His expression had changed. Mr. President, there has been Rumburgian military activity close to the Narble border. I just spoke with the local commander. Vulcan, we should go to the ministry and get further updates from our branches. Understood. Raising military readiness is the first call to action. If there is truly an extraordinary attempt, we will relay it to you immediately and wait for further orders, Mr. President. Remain calm, make sure not to escalate things further, nobody wants a war. We will exercise utmost caution, Mr. President. Hail, Swordland. Hey. They saluted and left the room. Rumburg was already testing us, and the reports from the interior indicate interference inside our borders. Communist, nationalist, Polish rebels, Rumburg expansionism. What was next? Swordland had always been a key piece in the chessboard of the global rivalry between Abkhazia and United Fontana, but in the recent years there was no such aggression from Rumburg, not at these levels at least. All it takes is one tiny spark to start the flames of war. The phone rang. Rumburg had decided to close their consulate in Latchaven. Fantastic. Rise of Golkondism in rural areas. Privileged minority. United Fontana Consulate helped protesters. What's this? Arcasia develops first ICBM. Fantastic. Just what we need. Nukes. Joseph, develop Swordland's nuclear program. For fuck's sake. React to unrest. Political situation around the country has escalated. Chief Strategist Lucian Cloud has prepared several action plans that we can execute. What will we do to address intensifying political combat? Let's visit affected towns in person. It was late in the evening. The Moon Palace was finally getting somewhat quiet when I returned to my office at the top. I eagerly approached my chair and sprawled out on it. It had been an exhausting day, just like every other day since I took office. Lean back and relax. I stretched out my arms, leaned back in my chair, and took a deep breath. Allsword Skyland was daunting but beautiful. I glanced downwards out the window and saw Search and the guards waiting for me by the main gate. Spy? Spoilers, but spoilers if you haven't seen the first playthrough or anything about Suzerain. Fucking spy traitor. I heard a couple of knocks on the door. My secretary, Olivia Suno, entered. Mr. President, Mr. Tusk is here to see you. I had a meeting with the Lothenburg spokesman. I'm so sorry for not giving you proper notice. Do your job fucking properly next time. Fucking... Ugh. Okay. Our character doesn't know she's a spy yet. Don't worry about it. Thank you for your understanding. Also, big ass cunt. After a moment, Mr. Tusk swaggered into the room. I'd met Swordland's most prominent businessman once or twice, but never alone. He had large jowls, blindingly shining shoes, and the air of someone who was used to getting their way. Anything to drink, Mr. Tusk? Water or whiskey? Cognac, preferably from before you were born, sweetheart. What a dipshit. I'll check the supply room. Olivia backed out of the office, shooting me an apologetic look as she did so. Walter hung up his hat, which I could see was lined with mink. He fixed me a long, hard stare, then broke into a toothy grin. "Evening, Mr. President. I'm here to congratulate you." You shouldn't have. We both sat down. "My business partners and I wish you a successful term as the leader of our nation." "Get to the point, Mr. Tusk. Why are you really here?" "I see that you're not very welcoming, Mr. President. Not to you, no. I merely congratulated you. I see no reason to necessitate rudeness." "I don't believe I am being rude. Time is money, after all. Isn't that right?" Walter took on a conspicuous look at the diamond-encrusted watch on his wrists. "Yes, that is true, but at the same time, patience and humility are important virtues for a man of your position. You're the president, after all. May I continue?" I nodded. "I'd like to build a profitable relationship between us. That being said, there are some concerns of mine and the people I represent, which I would like to take this opportunity to clear up." "What are these concerns?" "The ruined state of the economy in Sutherland has influenced everyone. The recession hit us all hard. I'm sure it hit you very hard." "What, you only have one diamond encrusted? You only have 15 diamond encrusted watches instead of 20?" Walter pulled out a box of cigars from his jacket. "I had this brought from Lesbia. Best cigars in the whole continent. Would you like to try one?" "I'd rather you not have you smoke here." "Sure, no problem. The assassination and the troubles between the left and right are worrying, but the recession is the root cause of these issues. For us, it is worrying to see that you have decided to promote a planned economy." "I don't mind that we disagree on the economy." "Neither do I, but you know how much capital Lothburg represents. Even though you pursue this path, you need further market investments to boost the economy." He leaned forward in the chair. "The highway investment was a good call, but there was more to gain in the high-speed rail, especially for business logistics. Um, our goal was to focus on the needs of the people, not businesses." "I do understand where you are coming from, but the business will help these people get employed. We can be close allies. The group can help you get Swordland out of the recession, which will be the key problem to solve in your term and could even determine your re-election. Let's start with a gesture of goodwill. Soon the investment project contract will be awarded to one of the three main contenders." He pulled a check out of his pocket and slid it toward me on the table. My personal bank details were listed on it, with a deposit of 500,000 Sworders Ren ready to be transferred. This was 6 months of a president's salary. The contract were somehow awarded to Underhall Construction. They would not only work hard and deliver, but also do it on time. What do you think, Mr. Rain? Wouldn't that be good?" He put his index finger on the check. There was a noise by the door. Livia Suno was standing there, holding a tray with a bottle and two glasses. "So sorry, Mr. Tusk, but all I could find was 1942 Sevigny. I hope that's acceptable." She quickly put the tray on my desk and walked out. Tusk eyed her as she left. "Remind me to visit your office more often. Now, where were we? Do you have a deal?" "Did you just try to bribe the president of Sutherland? I refuse." "Fucking prick. It's not just that I'm morally opposed to everything you stand for, is that I personally find you repulsive." Walter sighed and pulled the check away, putting it in his pocket. "If this is what you came here for, then we are done here." My goal was to begin a mutual beneficial partnership, but besides that, it was good to spend time together. "I almost forgot. Please say hello to Mr. Coranti for me." He smiled. "Have a good evening, President." Walter stood up, grabbed his jacket, and made his way towards the door. He closed the door behind him. I gathered my things and prepared to finally head home. As I walked out, I noticed Livia still there, covering up her typewriting for the evening. Why may be so bold, President? Did you accept his offer? Of course I did. How could you even ask me that? The other girls have told me about all kinds of dealings that went on during the Alfonso administration. I wasn't sure if you were that kind of president. I most certainly am not. She and I took a moment to look out over the lights of the city before heading to the elevators. Local police working with nationalists. In related news, the sky is blue and water is wet. Situation report. Rumber Southern Army was sighted training close to our borders. Fantastic. Pales issues warning over resume actions. Okay, let's take care of the contract. After a lengthy drive on cliffside roads, we arrived in Lengburg. There, crowds of cheering citizens greeted us, and the local government officials escorted us to the city hall. We were here for a significant meeting about the H3 project. Several construction companies sent their representatives to the city hall. Gus Manger, couldn't make it to this meeting due to his visit to Rizia, but had Simon Hall and Leas Graff by my side. Who is Manger again? Minister of Agriculture. Okay. Besides starting our economic recovery, this project will cut the time it takes to get here by road in half, Mr. President. More importantly, it will lead to improvement in England. I have lived with these people and seen them suffer. I hope so, Lilias. With the highway, we will be well on our way to economically strengthen the Sweet region. According to my estimation, this project will give about 50,000 citizens from England employment. What kind of end results do we expect? Short-term employment and long-term economic development in the Nargis and England regions. The underdeveloped cities of Lenkurg and Arvery will receive a lot more investment after this. Simon searched through the documents he was holding and found the one he was looking for. I have the overview of the companies here. Simon handed the files over to me. Look at the files. I looked at the files. 3 corporations were listed: the Sordus State Corporation, Underhall Construction, and Taurus Holding. I reviewed them. I also took the liberty of asking the mayor of Arvery to give his opinion on the matter. Which corporation should we talk about? I want to choose the Sordus State Corporation, but I know that does not go well. Sordus State Corporation. The respected Sordus State Corporation, known as the SSC, was founded in 1891. It is the main state corporation tasked with running the day-to-day construction services of our country. The SSC is one of our most trusted and honorable companies. They have served us a long time. I have worked with them on several occasions. It would fulfill your initial election promise of using state-dominant planned economy to improve Sorlin's bleak economic prospects. You have the experience and the manpower to pull off a project like this. Lilias paused for a second. Secondly, they are the only company to have worked in the Angland region out of all 3 corporations. The outdated construction methods that they use concern me. They are several decades behind. The lack of a modern attitude is disappointing. I don't agree with your negative statement, Simon. The SSC's record clearly shows completed contracts with thousands of employees who have more than 20 years of experience. I like the SSC, but I want to hear about the others. Underhall Construction. The real estate and construction giant was founded in 1925 and expanded during the economic boom of the 30s. Picking this corporation would go against our planned economy policy. The CEO of Underhall is Chris Shaw. The mayor of Conriat, he sold half of his shares a few years ago. I had to work with Underhull Construction before in Holsart. They accepted several contracts for the renovation of our central station and left much to be desired. The H3 project shouldn't be left to them. I would like to hear your thoughts, Simon. I think that they have been doing relatively well in the private sector, where they are dominating the construction industry with successful projects. Nonetheless, they subjected their workers to conditions beneath our standards during the whole Sword Central Station contract, which is troubling. Yeah. Yeah, we need to be able to trust the corporation. This is working conditions. No, I'll go with working conditions. Working conditions must be respected. This doesn't inspire confidence. I agree. The workers were undocumented Magnolian and Veshek immigrants with no papers, a clear violation of our laws. According to them, the tight completion schedule necessitated such bad labor conditions, which still doesn't justify the situation. Underhall has specifically mentioned their solid track record and highlighted that they do anticipate to go over budget, but that the project will be finished on time. I'm not sure about Underhall construction. Motherfucker tried bribing me, and he wants to go over budget. For fuck's sake. Tell me about Taurus Holdings. Taurus Holdings was founded in 1946 and is owned by the entrepreneur Gerald Weiss. It's a new holding company whose subsidiaries use cutting edge technology from Arcadia to reduce construction costs and prices. They are known to provide for their workers who are part of the labor union of Sutherland. Okay, I like this option. There are other things Taurus does very well, like providing consultants for state corporations, but I can't vouch for their infrastructure construction at all. Why should we pick Taurus? Why shouldn't we go? Let's reasons not to go with Taurus. Well, one of our promises would be respected. We promise to focus on the planned economy to create jobs. This company is completely private and directed by a non-government board. Do you even remember if they worked on a mega project at all? We'll lay aside. Choosing this company is too much of a risk for such an important project, especially when a proven candidate like the SSC exists. I'm tempted to go with them. Capabilities matter more than the history they have. We need to make unbiased decisions. They took a joint contract in Arcadia for restructuring the highway intersection of one of the major cities. It went well, but it is their only large scale success. If we are going to try a different company, this is the most unique. The project manager from Taurus Holding mentioned that they would be able to finish the project with all the allocated funding. They are the only company who found the budget sufficient, making them a cheaper alternative. Sure, and this would leave more money for the army and the police. Um, yeah, I'm definitely not going with fucking with the fucking bribe. I rejected the bribe to begin with. Sure, let's give them a chance. I've settled on Taurus Holding. Simon signed a certain section of the dossier and fixed his glasses. Very well, Mr. President, the contract will be awarded to Taurus Holding. I wish the outcome of this meeting was different, but at the end of the day, the success of the project is what matters. The company will be notified today and the construction work will begin immediately after. I think we are off to a great start. My expectations are that the grand opening ceremony will happen late next year. There better not be any fucking delays. I'd better get back to work then. Thank you. This concludes the meeting. Thank you. The meeting ended and we spent the remainder of the day attending events in Langburg. It was nice to enjoy the natural beauty of England and to eat some good fish. Ah, Meeting with Karanti. Economic relief plan first. With the assistance of the National Business Council and the Central Bank, Simulho put forward a countrywide relief plan to mitigate the economic hardships that are being felt. We can either provide stimulus checks for people in need, or bail out businesses under the serious financial strain, or decide not to approve the plan. Stimulus checks. Stimulus checks will make their way into the businesses, which then will pay taxes, and that's how the economy works. Our motorcade headed to the meeting location set by Marcel Coranti. Well, it works as long as citizens don't use the checks to pay down debt. Because that's the thing. The point of a stimulus check is that the people use that money to buy things, therefore generating revenue for businesses, which will also generate tax income and stimulate the economy. If the people save that money or use that money to pay down debt, you basically don't get any of the benefits of a stimulus check. But it's still a better alternative than giving it to businesses. Our our motorcade headed to the meeting location set by Marcel Caronti. I only had only my most confidential and trustworthy team members with me. After a few hours of driving along River Eskel, we turned to before entering. We took a turn before entering Conrad. The darkness started setting in as we drove up a hill. Where are we, Serge? We are nearing the HOS Country Club, Mr. President. We'll be there shortly. We arrived, and the big iron gates at the country club opened. It was huge and outright extravagant. The main building, inspired by Lesbian architecture, was illuminated from all sides. It was rather chilly. I was approached by Peter Vecton and Lucien Gallard. I hope the journey was comfortable. Let's see. I can't think of comfort. No. The location is very remote indeed. It's a very exclusive country club for people who value their privacy. We entered the main building. After opening the marble engraved wooden door, we were greeted by two tall women. The receptionists led us to the meeting room upstairs. Marcel was standing by the window, looking outside at the beautiful complex. He turned around to have a quick look at us both. He was a strikingly handsome man with well-groomed hair. He walked towards me with his hand reached out for a handshake. Sure, let's shake his hand. He had a firm grip. Such a pleasure to meet you in person, Mr. Coranti. I appreciate your effort to reach out and establish a mutual beneficial friendship. Thanks for hosting us. I admire your father very much. May he rest in peace. Welcome. Your kind words have touched me, Mr. Vice President. He was indeed a great man. Please accept our condolences. We are saddened. He would have been very happy to hear this from you, Mr. President. It's time to look forward. Let's talk about our bright future. Sure, let's have Let's have a seat. Marcel gently pointed to the seats. We sat down around the gigantic table. Before speaking, he knocked on wood. The past months have been tumultuous, to say the least. I am glad you and your family were unharmed in the shooting. The whole incident must have been a shock for the kids, and they aren't used to what we lived through back in the late 20s. I still remember when my father took us out of the country when it became too dangerous in Conriat. They were startled, but the important thing is where we are safe and sound. Spare me your life story. Nah, I don't. He's a prick, but he's less of a prick than Tusk. They were startled, but the important thing is that they are safe and sound. Of course, that is all that matters. No family should suffer from tragedy ever again. We had enough of that. Well, I am known to be a straightforward person, so let me get to the point without wasting your valuable time. It was during the Alfonso campaign when I was struck by what you have done with the party. Marcel started to look at one of the paintings at the wall. Sure, let's look at the painting. The famous piece depicted a giant sleeping beneath a village. The trees, rivers, and hills were all part of the giant's body. Its eyes were two caves looking up at the people. It showed daylight at the far left and nighttime at the far right. The giant seemed to be watching the village. It was totally unbeknownst to the villagers. Marcel pointed his finger at me. You said we will transform this nation, Mr. Ray. My conglomerate has a way of doing things, and I don't want them to change. So I want to cooperate with you. Cooperate? You might have the people's support now, Mr. President, but what happens when you make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. What is that supposed to mean? Let's hear his point, Vice President. Being a president in this country means having many enemies. Enemies that would resort to anything to bring you down. Let's say these enemies caused a scandal or leaked sensitive information from the administration. These would be destructive when they were released, if they were released. Playing a dangerous game. We are all dangerous men playing dangerous games. What do you want in return? I want two things, Mr. President. Number one is a guarantee from you that the Reign administration won't meddle in HOA's affairs, no matter what happens. Number two is a simple gentleman's favor for the future. Let me prove my services to you first, and I'm sure you won't disapprove when time comes. How do I know I can trust you? Spoiler alert, I can't. My circle advised against this. They don't even know we are meeting, Mr. President. We both put ourselves at risk here, but I am willing to trust you. The question is, are you willing to trust me and accept this offer? Because he can also use the media to bury me. What do you think about this, Lucian? Lucian leaned to my ears and whispered, I think it's a good deal. He is right, we will need the media support. With his newspaper and channels on our side, we can dodge a lot of bullets. The one thing that bothers me, though, is his favor request. We do not know what it is, and he could ask for something that could point fingers at us. Marcel interrupted us. So we have a deal? No, Mr. Calanti, I have to reject. I'm gonna do a zero corruption run. This might also land me in prison, or dead, or both. Mr. Grundy, I have to reject. Such a shame, Mr. President, and here I thought we were going to be good friends. It's a shame, really. Goodbye, Mr. Grundy. Let's leave. We left the complex and entered the car. I thought it would have ended better. It was your idea. He pushed it too far. Yeah, no. He pushed it too far. The threats were unacceptable. Return to Holsar. And that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I have been Pope. Please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.